Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As usual, I thank you all for subscribing, for liking. Please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, share the video, say something on the comment section so that we may know what to discuss in the next video. So today we are talking about the mandatory documents that are required in a registered business. Remember, when you have a business, it's very important to register that business because there are so many advantages of having a registered business, especially those people who are in tenderpreneurship for supply and delivery of services and commodities and equipment or even construction works to the government or parastatals or any other places where a formal legal procurement system is carried out. So, first of all, the most important thing for your business to be legit it's for it to be registered. Just the way like I, Brian Bovi, have a Kenyan ID, which identifies me as a Kenyan resident, which says where I am, where I am from, when I was born. It makes me a Kenyan. That is my legal document to prove that I'm a Kenyan. The same way, a business is an entity in itself, and for every business to be legit, it has got to have its own ID, and the identity card for a business is a business registration certificate. You see, for a sole proprietor, it's called a business name, but for limited companies, it's a registration. It's a You got to have the registration certificate. Once you have the registration certificate, it only obviously clicks, it is registered with the government that that entity actually exists. So that is the most important document to show that your company exists and it is legit. The second most important document in a company is the PIN certificate. There are two ways to go about the PIN certificate, because a PIN certificate shows that you are registered with the Revenue Authority, which shows where the Revenue Authority, like KRA, is able to trace whether you are doing your returns, whether you are compliant with the government in terms of paying your revenue. So if you have a sole proprietor kind of business where your business is a business name, your PIN, your personal PIN, becomes the PIN of the company. So the liabilities of the company are your own personal liabilities. That means that the company will file returns under your name. The company will file VAT under your name. The company will file pay as you earn under your name. If there is any excise duty, if there's any import duty, if there is all the kind of returns that we have, the company will have to be filing them through your personal identification number, the PIN number, the KRA PIN number. If your company is limited, the difference between a limited company and a sole proprietorship is that with the sole proprietorship or the business name, all the liabilities of the company, if the company has debts, it has profit, all the responsibilities and the liabilities of the company are the liabilities of the proprietor or the owner or the director. But about the limited company, it's an entity by itself. It's independent from the directors, it's independent from the proprietors, it's independent, and its liabilities are its own liabilities. In a limited company, if a company has debts, there's a very limited um, uh, way that the directors are able to suffer because of the liability of the company. It's limited. There's limited liability. So in a limited company, the company has got to have its own PIN certificate. You have to register it with the Revenue Authority, make sure it has its own PIN certificate. That's the second important document in a company. The first one is the registration certificate. Now we go to the PIN certificate. Now, for you to be able to transact with any government entity, especially here in Kenya, any parastatal, any government organization, you have to have a tax compliance. What is a tax compliance? A tax compliance is a certificate that shows that you are compliant with the government, that you're paying your dues on time, that you're filing your returns, that you're declaring your sales, that you're declaring your purchases, that you're doing the statutory deductions for your employees and paying for them. So this certificate shows that you pay, you give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So the government is not able to do any business with you if you are not paying your revenue. So for you to be able to transact with any government entity, be it a ministry, a county government, um, a parastatal, any government institution, there's no way they can ever give you a business if you don't have a tax compliance. And if any entity does its procurement procedures and you don't have a compliance certificate with the Kenya Revenue Authority and they give you business, then that is very illegal. So if you've just gotten into the tenderpreneurship business and you want to prepare yourself, make sure you've registered your company, you have the registration certificate, you are registered with the Revenue Authority, you have a PIN certificate, and that you are compliant with the Revenue Authority, you have a tax compliance certificate. Now, in our country, we have around 47 counties. In the 47 counties, each registered business must have an office in a certain area. Whether you're in Nairobi, whether you're in Mombasa, whether you're in Kakamega, in Kisumu, in Kitui, in Makueni, in Machakos, in Kajiado, in Turkana, wherever, in Eldoret, wherever you are, you must belong to a certain county. And when these procurement processes are being done, there's something that we call preference. When you're bidding for a county government job, sometimes they give preference to the people who are registered under the county government. So you might find that a tender document is floated to the website or to the newspaper, and when you go to look for what are the mandatory requirements of that document, one of the most important documents that you'll always find will be asked for, especially for those entities that belong under the county government, is the business permit. Business permit shows that you are registered with the county government, and the county government is able to trace where you are and whether you are compliant with the rules, regulations, and the remittances of the county government. So it is very important for you to be registered with the county government. Most of the county governments have their portal where you're able to register with them, and sometimes it's in this portal, a government portal called eCitizen. Under the eCitizen, you're going to find your county where you're able to register your business, give out your details, and then they're able to give you a county permit. A county permit usually expires after 1 year, from January to December. So if you register, even if you apply for a county permit in November, at the end of the month, in December 31st, it will expire, and in January, you're supposed to get another one. Most of the county governments give a leniency period of up to March. You're supposed to have a valid county permit for that year. So a business permit is very important. The other important document that you're supposed to have, especially if you are in the business of offering services, if you're doing cleaning services, security services, or your company has employees, remember it is mandatory in the labor laws of Kenya for you to, to, to pay your staff the required wage according to what they do. Then the most important thing in that is that you're supposed to do something that we call statutory deductions. Statutory deductions are mandatory for all the employees. Anybody who is employed, be it a house girl, be it a security man, be it a cleaner, be it an accountant, a manager, a clerk, whoever it is, you have to deduct their NSSF, National Social Security Fund, NHIF, National Hospital Insurance Fund, and then the pay, which is pay as you earn. These deductions are supposed to be made every single month. You deduct from the employee, and then you pay for them to the relevant authorities. For example, NSSF. Let me use the old system where the employee is deducted 200, the employer contributes on behalf of the employee 200 shillings, which becomes 400 shillings. This 400 shillings is supposed to be remitted to the National Social Security Fund before the 15th of the second month, of the following month. So if we're in November, for example, my salary for this month you're supposed, as an employer, you're supposed to deduct 200 from my salary, and then you pay for me 200 from the company, and then this 400 is supposed to be paid before the 15th. I think it's the 15th. For NSSF, it's the 15th, before the 15th of December. So for you to be able to do all these things, you have to be registered with the NSSF. Your company has to be registered with NSSF. Then with NHIF, you're also supposed to be registered. For NHIF, you're supposed to deduct based on the income. It fluctuates. The person who is earning low cannot be deducted the same as the person who is earning a higher income. So for NHIF, for example, if you deduct 500, you're supposed to remit it before the next month by 9th. So you make sure your company is registered with NSSF and NHIF and KRA for you to be able to deduct NSSF contributions, NHIF contributions, and pay as you earn. NSSF contributions are contributions which are supposed to safeguard you at your old age. Once you retire, which is around 55 years in Kenya, you're supposed to get that money back. All the monies that have been deducted through your employment life. At 55, if you're compliant with the government, they're supposed to give you that money back. And then it helps you sort your issues at old age or retirement age. So that is your money, which you claim after retirement. And again, I have to caution you, for those people who don't know, it is very hard for you to get that money back if you've not been doing your returns, especially the Kenya Revenue Authority. If Kenya Revenue Authority has an issue with you, it is very hard for you to get your NSSF monies back. So always make sure every single month, every year, you're compliant with the government so that when it comes to NSSF, you're able to get your money back. Now, with NHIF, it is very important for you to contribute. Don't feel like these people are deducting my money. With NHIF, once you've been deducted NHIF, you get like outpatient services for free using your NHIF card. Pay for your mother, pay for your brother, pay for those people who are not working, even if it's a personal contribution or through the company, because these people, it will be less costly and more efficient for you to get those urgent medical services if you are contributing for NHIF. Pay as you earn is paying revenue because the government has to do infrastructure, has to do ABCD. So you pay revenue to the government. That is the money that government survives on revenue. The government survives on monies that we contribute as citizens. So as an individual, you have to pay. First, we pay by the small things that we buy at the shops. When you buy a loaf of bread, when you buy anything that you buy has 16% VAT. This is money that you're giving to the government. This 16%, it is what they accumulate and then do their projects. That's where they read the budget from. The government gets money from its citizens. So if you're an individual, you contribute, and you're employed, you contribute through the pay as you earn. If you have a company, the company has to remit the VAT payments on the sales. 16% of your sales is for the government. So this 16% is given to the government. At the end of the year, once you've done your profit and loss at the end of the month, 30% of your profit goes to the government because the government gets its money from its citizens and the businesses of its citizens. You remember, the government has public servants, their infrastructural things that need to be done, the roads, the dams, and everything. So the budgets that they usually read, that money that they say they will spend, it is the money that you contribute. So the government will always have to be very keen, and that's why it follows you up through KRA to make sure that you pay what belongs to the government. So far I've said that you have to have the registration certificate, you have to have the PIN certificate, you have to have the compliance certificate with the Kenya Revenue Authority, you got to have to the business permit through the county governments, and then you have to have the certificate, the NSSF registration certificate, and its compliance to show that you're compliant with the NSSF authority. And then you have to be compliant, be registered with NHIF and have its compliance certificate. Remember, some of these tenders, especially the cleaning tenders, the security tenders. They advertise these tenders and then they give you a list of the things that you require. And one thing I really want to discourage people, if you've registered a company under NSSF and an HIF, even if it's that one employee or those two employees, make sure you deduct and pay every single month. The moment you skip a month without pay, and then in the future you will require that compliance certificate, you will suffer, my friend. You'll wish that you never opened that company. You'll wish to close it and open another one, and they will not allow you to close that company if it has debts with these parastatols. And the penalties are so high to discourage uh, non-compliance. For example, with an SSF, if you don't pay it on time, they will penalize you 5% of the required payable amount times the number of months that you have defaulted. That's very high. You're supposed to pay 500. You haven't paid for 3 months. They will take 5% of 500 times 3 months. That is the penalty. Apart from the principal amount that you're supposed to pay, they will add this kind of penalty. NHIF, if you're supposed to pay 1,000 and you've defaulted for 3 months, they will take 1,000 times 3 times the amount that you are supposed to pay, 3,000, plus now the principal amount of 1,000. You see, that is very high, and it is not wise to skip not paying these months, because one day, one time, you will require this compliance certificate to be able to participate in a certain tender. And that is where the fraud comes, that you need to participate in this tender. You don't have the compliance certificate. You go to River Road or those black markets, they make you a fake document. Remember, if you prepare a fake document when you're doing a tender and they manage to know that it's a fake document, they will blacklist you, my friend, and you're not going to be able to do the tenders or the business anymore. And it is a criminal offense. You can get jailed for it. So let's not be too fraudulent or too wise, because it's not helping. Once you try, they call it in Swahili kuchonga document. Don't do that. Don't manipulate a document. And nowadays, these government parastatals are also becoming bright. They're having intelligent people. They have come up with ways to validate your document. The document has a code there. You just send the code to that number, and they're able to tell you whether that document is legit or not. Some of them have as what do they call it? Something that you can scan with your phone, like the county government certificates, the business permit. You scan and it automatically tells you whether that is your certificate and whether it is legit. So always make sure that you are compliant, you have registered with the relevant authorities, and you do the necessary remittances. Remember, like for example, the tax compliance. If you don't have any business, you're supposed to file a nil return every single month, especially payee and VAT. If you don't have any sales to declare a nil return, because you have not had any sales in that particular month. If you don't have any employees, don't assume because you don't have employees, you're not supposed to file a payee return. Do a nil return to show that you don't have any salaries to pay for that previous month. Just do a nil return. Remember, if you don't do the nil return and you skip every single month with the revenue authority that you don't file your returns on time, they will charge you 10,000 for skipping VAT, 10,000 for skipping pay, and then if you accumulate like 10 months, that is 100,000. You can imagine just a nil return which takes less than 5 minutes. You paying 100,000 for you to get a compliance certificate. Ignorance is very expensive. So always ensure you do your returns on time. Now, there are other licenses that are not required in every department. But if you are a garbage collector, you are offering cleaning services, you are offering pest control and fumigation services, it is very important to you to be registered with NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority. If you're carrying garbage, they require you to present a truck with a driver and the license and those kind of things. Make sure you're registered with NEMA and they give you a permit for you to operate in that kind of business. If you're doing fumigation services, pest control, kuua mende na panya and the rest, make sure you get a license from Pest Control and License Board. It is very cheap. I think it's 2,000. Register with that authority. Let them give you a license every single year, because it is illegal to operate in those kind of businesses without those required documents. And if you want to participate in those kind of tenders, they will ask you to provide those licenses. So those are most, I've said the registration certificate, the PIN certificate, the tax compliance, the business permit, the NSSF certificate and its compliance, NHIF registration certificate and its compliance, the pest control and license board certificate or license. Now we go again to another certificate. In the government, sometimes they give leniency to some kind of groups. Those are the women, the youth, and the people with the disability. There's a certificate that is required to show that you are under that category. Remember, um, when you are registered with when you want to register in the government, it's usually the parastatal called the National Treasury. You have to have a certificate called the Agrippa certificate. So you make sure you're registered with Agrippa for you to fall under the category of youth, women, and the people with disability. That's a very important document. Uh, those are the most important mandatory requirements that again you are required to have. And apart from those, it is very important that you prepare a business profile of your company. Let the people from a small document of around 15 to 20 pages be able to know who you are, what you do, what you've been doing, your vision, your mission, and the categories of the services that you offer. Let them be able to tell that from a small document called a business profile. It is also very important for you to have a business account. Remember, once you start doing these businesses, they don't give you cash. They they don't pay it to your personal account. They give you checks. They do RTGs, electronic transfers, and things like that to your company account. So ensure that you register, you open a bank account under your business name or the limited company. Once you go to the bank and you want to open an account for your company, the most things that they will ask for is the registration certificate and the PIN certificate. The PIN certificate, again from the KRA, is for them to go to work with the revenue authority to know that the incomes that you're getting through your bank, you are declaring sales and you're doing the correct remittances and you're compliant with the revenue authority. Again, in your profile and in your certificates everywhere, you got to have a registered office. I know most of the people, I included, when you started, you had a briefcase office, whereby you tell people you're a business person, you don't have an office, people cannot be able to locate your offices. It is very important to have a registered office. Remember, you will not get a county permit without a registered office. When the revenue wants to visit, the Kenya Revenue Authority wants to visit, they will visit you at your office. Once you've gotten those tenders, those procurement people will want to visit you at your office. NSSF and NHIF, they'll ask you, where is your office located? So you've got to have, even if it's a small office, or you have 10 people cost sharing one office, that's okay. As long as you have a county, you have that address. I am Brian Mbuvi. My company is Brethren Investments. It's located at Moi Avenue, Mombasa. The building, Eunice Building, any kind of building. Which floor? Second floor. Which office? 10C. PO box. Blah, 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 blah. Your phone number, your email address. That is very important, because how will people get to you? How will people visit your office? How do you market yourself? Do they come to your house? So, my friends, thank you for watching my channel. I hope it was educative. I hope you've learned something. And I'm an expert in these things. So if you need my services, if you need to contact me, my number is 0727 705 608. You can reach me at any time. And please hit the subscription button. like, share, and say something on the comment section. And as I conclude, I will repeat again in a brief way. These are the most important documents that you require in any company to be able to operate in a smooth way. Registration certificate, PIN certificate, tax compliance, business permit, NSSF registration and compliance, NHIF registration and compliance, NEMA license, pest control and license board certificate, business profile, Agrippa certificate. You need to have a bank account, and you have to have an address and a registered office. Karibu sana. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be so grateful. Until next time, bye bye.